All right, so I have a cousin who's actually on the staff here at Beachwood. He started wrestling before me, and like all boys, I got a family of boys about my age, and most people play football and stuff, and he went out for wrestling. And we would always wrestle in the backyard. One day, Leonard, he put it on me in the backyard. It felt like he knew what he was doing. I was like, dude, you got so much better, like, in a matter of, like, one summer. And he was like, you'd never be able to beat me. He was like, because I'm a real wrestler. And when he said that, I was like, oh, you're a real wrestler. He was like, yeah, and he started showing me these little basic moves. And we were really young. You're talking like elementary school. And that's how I got into wrestling. Scott Peters was actually the first person to introduce me to Beachwood Wrestling. This room didn't exist. It was kind of like, I think downstairs in the back of the track where they practiced at that time. And I don't know if he was like the head coach then or if he was just involved, because he's been involved probably his whole life. But Scott was actually my introduction to Beachwood Wrestling. And then Dominic I. Marino, Coach I, he makes me call him Dominic now, which feels weird, but Coach I actually got to meet him a couple times, but mostly it was afar. And I watched the way he coached his guys and the passion and intensity that he brought. He was so passionate, You got to remember, Coach I's not a really big guy. He's on a like medium, smaller side. Those kids, like, he said it, they did it. And I remember thinking back in the day, how crazy is this? Like, I'd like to coach like that guy, because he was just so motivating and inspirational. I got one selfish one and one unselfish one. Watching my son on that run his senior year, and I know people call it a run, but like I knew it was going to happen. The only thing I was shocked about is that he didn't win the whole thing, to be honest. As weird as this sounds, like, when you watch somebody work and you watch somebody make mistakes and make corrections, watching him and Uzana, like, in that space was just unbelievable. And it was like zero doubt in either one of their minds or any of the coaches, probably like my number one, like, for sure. This is so weird. Your perspective of winning and success and improvement changes, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, we all want to win championships and stuff like that. Like right before COVID, a few years after I came here, this all happens in one day. So this is going to be crazy. We were having like a optional youth practice. This was like the weekend of, they do a dual state championship. So like, I watched this room. It literally had over 100 little kids in it, all in here. The majority of them go to Beachwood schools, and they're all like working out and stuff. So this is the morning, and the kids were up here warming up to get ready for state duels. And the little kids, you could see how much they were like in awe of those guys. It was a good weekend for the program. We beat like 4 opponents and advanced to the regional final, I guess it's called, before the state meet. I remember that same team was the team that I had when I first got here, and they were terrible. And you're gonna laugh. I said it to the kids, so I don't mind saying it out loud. We were having a preseason meeting. Like, this is in the beginning of that season, leading up to that day. And like I said, the year before, they were terrible. I mean, I've never, it was like the Bad News Bears. It was crazy. I was like, hey, you guys are closer to men than boys, so I don't want to sugarcoat it too much. I want to be honest with you. And they were like, yeah, coach, we want to. I was like, how do you guys think you were last year? And one of the seniors, he was like, we were terrible. I was like, yeah, it was pretty bad. I was like, but you guys have been working really hard. They worked out over the summer. I was like, you're not terrible anymore. Now you're just bad. I said, but we keep this going. We keep working hard, keep sticking to the process. I said, I say by the end of the season, maybe we'll be decent. And we were. I think we won like every dual meet except 1 or 2. We had a kid get a medal at districts. We had like 7 district qualifiers. And we were like on that path to getting to the state meet. Finally it happened. And my sons were in the room at that time. They were in youth and elite. And they were part of those little kids, part of that 100 that were watching those older kids prepare. It's so crazy because a lot of those little kids, my son Caleb, who got on the wall last year, my son Josh, who got on the wall the year previous, and we have this group of freshmen who are all on that team that are coming in this year. And then we got some 8th graders, your cousin Phoenix, Talmadge Bang, and they remember those kids, and they remember them having success. And they brought it up to me recently, And I told him, I said, you guys are so much better than that team was when I met them a year before that. I was like, it's unbelievable. But yeah, so there you go. My first probably big inspiration, and you know I'm from the 1900s, as the kids often remind me. When I watched wrestling back then, it was like ABC Wide World of Sports on like the 3, 5, and 8 channels, like Olympic Time, or VHS tapes. The '84 Olympics, like you know, they had all these videos of Dan Gable, and he was coaching at that time, and knowing a guy like went undefeated or lost one match in his collegiate career was like unbelievable. And then they show all these videos of him training. And then they showed one of his athletes, a guy named Chris Campbell, who wrestled for Gable, and he was in that Olympics and he got a bronze medal, and he was like almost 30, which was crazy. And then enter the reign of John Smith. So he's a younger guy, he's, you know, flashy and quick, and he was all those things that I aspired to be. So it was like that combination of those 3 guys. And I could name a few more, but those 3 guys all in that one like little 20, 30-minute news segment like took me down a crazy path of wrestling. So those are my inspirations. So I always tell people, Coach I is like my mentor coach. He very clearly told me, he was like, hey, my years of being at tournaments every weekend, those are over, you know, which I respect and I understand. However, a lot of people don't know this. Probably for my first 5 or 6 years here in the program, I would have coffee at Dunkin' Donuts in Solon with Coach I Marino and a couple other coaches in the area, and they all get together and have coffee. So like a couple times a week I did that, and I would learn so much from Coach I. It's unbelievable. And once again, COVID kind of slowed all those things down. But I would have coffee with him every morning, and he told me directly he thought I was the guy for this job. It's so hard to like just encapsulate in a sentence, but he literally teaches me how to be a better coach. And he always makes jokes. He was like, oh, you don't listen to what I say. And I laugh because I really do listen to what he says. But sometimes the timing isn't like the way he probably would like it. 3 years ago, he said, and this is so weird, he said, Uzana and Josh will probably be your first state placers, and they both have potential to win it. He was like, it just depends, right? He was like, things have to come together. He was like, and Caleb's going to be your third. And he said that like 3 years before Caleb even came into high school. Coach, you seem so sure of it. He was like, you could just see it. But he'll always tell me like, oh, watch this kid's going to be good. Or watch this kid's going to be good. Even if they're losing, which is the funniest part. Like he'll say that even when a kid's losing. And he'll say it sometimes. He was like, the kid's winning, but he ain't winning because, you know, he's a good wrestler. He's winning because he's bigger or stronger or something like that. But he's mentored me in so many different ways, how to communicate with kids better. Coach I want to say he's 82 this year, something like that. He can still relate to a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old and connect. Now, don't get me wrong. He's from the area he's from. So from time to time, he can be a little direct. But that also could be just, you know, he's 82. He ain't got time to crap around, right? But he connects with those kids, even at that young age. And then he can connect with the high school kids. And then he can connect with me. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's really good at connecting with people. And I think that's one of the things that made him a great coach. And that's something I've learned from him, connecting with people. It's super important. Like I said, when I got here, it was, you know, and Coach Cimarroni did a great job of him and Dugan setting the stage for the right person, whether it was me or somebody else, come in here and take care of business. And I think one of the things I bring is establish relationships. And that's not just with the kids. It's like navigating the parents and administration, you know, just tirelessly working to make the program. Your uncle, Ryan, helping me improve and helping, by proxy, the program improves. And it's a constant effort. Financially, retention as far as kids advancing through the program, because it's hard for a kid to start wrestling in kindergarten, first grade, and they make it to ninth grade. People don't realize the biggest drop-off is in 7th and 8th grade, and I work in the middle school. So that way I can try to keep the kids that I think love the sport and try to help the kids who don't love the sport navigate the environment, But I think my biggest contribution is my work ethic, and we had 6, 7 kids wrestle at national duels. Some of them aren't even in high school yet. I'm excited for the next few years because all those young kids are coming on in. I always tell the kids, if all you learn from me is a bunch of wrestling moves, I failed. That's not winning. Like, I want kids to win in every area of life, and I think that starts with being a good human being. Like, if I've achieved that with every kid that walks through this room, I feel like, obviously their parents and other people in their lives, but I feel like that's paramount. It's number one. I need them to be great human beings because I know great human beings have things in common. They help their fellow man. They take care of their families. They want to make sure that they do things the right way instead of trying to cut all corners. And I don't think you have to be a world champ or even a state champ to do that. They become doctors. They become professionals in whatever it is they pursue. And when they do it, I know they're going to do a good job at it because it started out as what? They're great human beings. And then the other side of it is I want them to know what it feels like to win. I don't want it to be like, I'm just big, strong, I came out for wrestling, I pinned 20 people. That's not winning. That's just you being physically better than the other kid in front of you. But I want them to know that they worked for it. Because the things that you earn by your own 2 hands are the most valuable to you. I literally just fielded a call from a private school in Pennsylvania who adamantly has a desire to take my younger son. And it's a great place to be as a young person. He was like, Dad, I don't think anybody on the planet's going to look out for me the way you look out for me. He was like, and I don't think it's unique to me. I think us getting in the car, driving to elite duels, and we had 3 kids from Beachwood going to that event. He was like, you do that for every kid. I don't know if everybody's like that. He was like, I wouldn't take the chance. And I think I can get really good here. I was like, wow, well, thank you, son. That made me happy, because that is how I feel about it. I want every kid to know what earning something feels like and being able to apply just great character and work ethic. Just like I said, being a great human being. I think those things trump everything else at the end of the day. One thing I like to say is what a privilege and honor it is to head this program. Don't get me wrong, it's a ton of work, but it's a labor of love. And I'm not sure if I'd be in the space I'm in without the support of Dominic Imarino. Coach I has truly been instrumental in my development as a coach. And like I said, he's taught me so much. And I'm excited to see the Dominic Imarino Wrestling Room when it gets unveiled. He truly earned it and truly deserves it. I know this is going to sound contrary. I don't feel like a kid has to wrestle to get these same things. I think it has to be environmental, and this is the right environment for any kid. Tall, short, skinny, chubby, it doesn't really matter. I think when a kid comes into this room, they're going to be better emotionally, mentally, physically. They're going to do things that they never thought they could do before. They're going to be challenged. They're going to be pushed. They're going to be loved. They're going to know they're loved. They're going to know that they belong to the team. They're going to feel good about themselves. And I think it's so funny. A custodian recently said this to me, which I thought was kind of funny because it was kind of random. Custodian goes, Jimmy, you must be doing something right. I said, why? I was like, they didn't look particularly good today, but sure. And he goes, the kids that graduate keep coming back and they keep being involved in the program. I think those are the things that a kid would get out of being here.